This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
All right, welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. We are featuring local legends here in Middle Tennessee, and I am super excited to have my friends Ashley and Tim Rayner here. They are the owners of Fit 15, which is located right in the Cool Springs area in Franklin, Tennessee, and they serve the communities around the area here in Franklin, Brentwood, College Grove area, and beyond. And they've got a great story, so I'm excited to have them here. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So you guys have a unique story in that, first of all, you are a husband and wife team. Mm-hmm. So that's a whole thing, right? Because we can go in, we will get into that, what it's like to work with your spouse. But before we do that, I want to hear from you guys. Tell us a little bit about what Fit 15 is. I know what it is, but I want everyone else to hear what makes it so special and what is it?
Yeah, so we're a private personal training gym. We do one-on-one training, small group training, nutrition coaching. And we just tell everyone we don't sell gym memberships, we sell coaching and accountability. So if you're looking for results and a community and everything, that's where you go.
Awesome. How did you guys come up with the name Fit 15?
Yeah, it's really just based off of the area code of 615.
Yeah.
And one of the things when we opened was we wanted to be community-driven fitness. And so we were like, what better way to tie in 615 than like Fit 15? And there's so many people in Williams County just love fitness, and it's super healthy, active area. So it made sense for us.
Well, I love the name. It's super fun. And you guys have a quite the journey that brought you to where you are. And you're very young entrepreneurs to be successful. But for those listening, I'm not going to disclose full numbers, but what I can tell you is their first year in business was off the charts, which is not common when you start a business. And they've had nothing but success since then. I was blown away when I sat down with you and learned more about your business. But tell us what your principles are that have led you to success, because I think that's the power behind you.
Yeah, we, and that was like a big mistake we made when we started was like you try and write down all these SOPs, and like if someone doesn't follow the SOP, you're like, okay, like just follow the SOP, right? But then eventually you train people and they're following them, but it's not going right. And you're just confused as like, I know they're doing it right, but it looks wrong. And the biggest thing that we figured out was just that we needed to have core values instead. And that the core values are what should lead our team members and ourselves on like our decisions. Mm-hmm. And the SOPs are just like kind of help you navigate, right? But like the core values are your North Star. And so we really brainstormed this hard, and we basically came up with make a positive difference, sincere honesty, be reliable, be authentic, and build quality relationships. And after we really like narrowed that down, then we were able to figure out, okay, like what's our culture? How do our team members make decisions? Like as long as they're making decisions and they're in line with those, then they're not going to make a bad decision. And that's it makes it a lot easier for everyone.
And you guys believe in that so strongly, which I talk to hundreds and hundreds of business owners a month. I mean, legitimately every month I do. And I have not talked to a business owner that immediately brought that out, their core values, as I did with you two. And it's on your shirts in the gym. I mean, you guys have it everywhere.
And I think it's a lot with like the hiring too. Like that's kind of what we look for more than anything else, because you can't change that.
Right. So Ashley, tell me a little bit about that piece, because when I think about the fitness world, it's a challenge to keep great people for a lot of reasons, right? When you have personal trainers, people get attached to the trainer, so then the trainer goes and does their own thing, or they're not invested in the gym, or it's, there's lots of factors that lead into the challenges of owning a fitness facility. And you guys are so much more than just a facility. But talk to me a little bit about the hiring piece and how you've been able to do that.
I think a lot of it is just that we look for really good people in general. We're not going to look at like just credentials, because you can teach anyone how to do anything really. But you want to make sure that they can build relationships and that they're, have empathy and things like that, because you can't really teach how to do those things. But also just making sure that they have good work ethic, and we meet with every one of the new members so that we know them too. And then it's not like, oh, that trainer's the only person talking to them. So everybody like knows everybody, so that you're like involved in everyone else's success.
That is pretty genius when you think about the hiring process of hiring for their will and their innate ability versus the skills that have already been acquired. And that's a mistake. I remember back in my days in corporate where I'd be like, these interview questions are stupid. Why is somebody telling me to ask these things? Like, what, am I the only person that realizes that those things don't really matter when it comes to seeing success with clients or customers? Is back when I was a DM or store manager. And it really comes down to the values drive what you guys do, and it drives your team and how you make those decisions, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then really, like, as long as in the interview process you can mark off those boxes and you make sure that it aligns with your business, from there it's just figuring out the career roadmap development. And it's essentially like what buckets do these trainers want to hit? We have one trainer who's amazing and she wants to travel all the time. And if we can pay her and she can afford to do that, then awesome. And it's really like, okay, are you going to become a better trainer? Are you developing this skill? Are you going to get your time back, but make sure you're making what you want? And as long as they have a development plan and they know that they're working on something personally, because a lot of trainers just end up just going through session after session. They never work on themselves. They're always working on other people, or they're building their business. Then typically they're pretty good. And if it's the right fit, then they're not going to question what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's a concept that is lost in the hiring world and corporate world, I think. From not everywhere, of course, but I think you guys are the anomaly. It's not common that it's all, and I think the world is changing to go in that direction, but it's not traditionally where it's been. It's about you and how can I make you happy. I interviewed someone that I ended up bringing on as a full-time EA, and when I asked her, well, what's important to you? And she just kept saying, well, I just want to do a good job and make you happy. I'm like, that's great, but I want to know what matters to you, because I need to reciprocate that and make sure, things are that you value are evident in the work that you're doing. So I want to talk about what it's like to work together, because you guys both are very in sync. And I know you guys can't see, but they have two beautiful little girls. And it's actually, they walked in and I'm like, where are the kids? Because I've never seen them without the kids. And well, I guess, Tim, I met you once without the girls there. But usually the kids are right there with you guys. So how is it to work together as a married couple? And tell us about that journey.
I mean, we definitely have like different strengths, so that helps a lot, because Tim's like more of the like business, math, numbers side, and I'm usually more of like the personal skills. So it honestly works out really easily because he does the stuff I really don't want to do. And I usually do the stuff he doesn't want to do. But also it's nice because you don't really ever feel like, some people say like when you're a couple, you want to like leave work at home, but we don't really believe in that because it's kind of like our life. So it's basically just, I mean, you don't really have a boundary. Like you still talk about work at home and it's not a big deal. Like it is what it is, but it is sometimes stressful if you have stress at work because it doesn't really go away. You can't just like leave it there. It's still there because you got to work through it, but it makes it easier to deal with.
Yeah, we try to figure out really like what's Ashley's lane, what's my lane. And I mean, we worked in corporate fitness for a long time together. Ashley was at Lifetime for 10 years. I was there for 6. We worked together for 6. Then we opened our business and like we've made mistakes, right? We're like, I'll come over her head on something and immediately we're like, whoa, what just happened? But like early on, it's going to happen. But what we figured out is like, she has roles, I have roles, like stick to them. Yeah. And then other than that, get the input from it, but you're in charge of those decisions, and that's been really helpful. And then, just trying to build, a business and a life that we don't have to like take breaks from. And the better your business gets, the more you can take time to focus on lifestyle and things like that. But it's just, this is what we want to do. We love helping people. And so like we know that we're going to talk about our clients and our business, but it'd be more stressful to not talk about it.
Right. And that's such a powerful thing. I think it's like you guys are just forward thinking in terms of how you're running your business and your life. And it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs get, but when you aren't in that space and you're in what the world tells you to do, go get a job, work for somebody else, take out student loans, the whole standard of kind of what the basic expectations in society are. You don't have that where it's like, I love my work, so why would I need to not be present for it? Yeah, everybody needs a mental break. More so, I think, when you take a step away from your business, you actually, for me, I work on my business instead of in my business. And I have thoughts that move my business forward when I walk away from it and take a pause, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm so crowded in the day-to-day that I can't think about that. But other than that factor, if you love what you're doing, it really is about, your work-life integration and not work-life balance. That doesn't really exist. I don't like that. It's work-life integration. And it's a family affair, literally, for you. And my business is a family affair, too. Everyone's involved in it. So what a gift that is to be able to truly have that. Do you have rules for how you run business together? Other than kind of stay in your lane and make your, but I love that. Stay in your
not
lane.
a ton, really, but
I think it would be if I think the unspoken rule is like if I've made a decision, like the decision's made, because and it it is what it is. But like if there isn't one person to like rely on, then we would both just go back and forth forever. So it's really like defining like CEO role, and like owner role. And then Ashley does our CSM, which is client success management. And so like who's responsible for those things, and like how does your chart actually go? And even as a business owner, it's like I know but we were very good personal trainers for a corporate company for a long time. And when you open a business and you're a service-based entrepreneur, you trade one job you're really good at for 12 you've never done.
Yes.
And you are so screwed.
You said it, Tim.
And so it's like, even for us, it was writing down what are all of the jobs that we're doing every day, and then assigning like SOPs, dollar amounts to those positions, and then being able to be like, okay, here's our chart. This is the jobs we're doing. These are what we're replacing to buy our time back. This is Ashley's role as a CSM. And if she ever needs to get out of it, now we know what to replace and who to look for to do that. But as long as she loves it and she's doing it, then it's fine. But if you don't have assigned roles, you don't have positions, then you're just never going to have a clear vision of how your business runs.
We're going to share that right there. I want to like blast that out to everybody because it's so smart. And you guys know I talk to lots of business owners, especially in your space. And most business owners that get stuck here, and that's okay if that's where you want to be, but to scale the business, which is what you guys have done, and that's what we're talking about. If you want to scale your business, you have to leverage the principle of who, not how.
Yeah.
Who are you going to use, not how are you going to get it done? And there are so many businesses that could be here, and they're here because the business owner, the people in charge, stay in the mindset of, I have to do it. I can't pay someone to do this. I've got to be able to get it done under this. I don't have the funds to do it. And you guys took a very different approach, which has is partially why you've gotten where you are. Talk to us about how you leverage that. And I want to hear from Ashley first and then Tim.
Sure.
Because we know your word is what goes, right?
It is, yeah.
I mean, just like delegating tasks in general is hard. I feel like that's why a lot of businesses don't work very well, because they're really good at the service, but then they don't know how to hire and they don't trust anyone else. Because, I mean, that was the hardest thing for me, is like just getting used to having someone do your job with like having a really high standard, and you're like, no one else can do it.
Yes.
And you can correct them and teach them, and that's the biggest thing. If you can teach anyone, then you're good, but most people don't trust anyone to do it. So that's the only way we can grow, is do that. And that's what we've seen help our business the most, is just helping other trainers grow to do what you did. And then you can grow more trainers. So it's really just about that.
How did you let go of that? Because I know the expectations you guys have.
I mean, it's still there. It's still there a little for sure, but I don't know. It's just kind of seeing the bigger picture, I think. Like Tim's was better at it probably than I was, but I think I just get like too involved like with people and clients. So it's like one of those things where it's like so much you don't want to give it away. But I don't know, you see it work.
And she loves the people part of it. And I'm the type of person where I could sit for probably 8 hours and not speak. And she's like screaming at 6 a.m. just telling me about like what's going on. And so, like for her, if she were to not be with people, she'd be miserable.
I'm
And-
with you, Ash.
Yeah, it's so different for her because like she could probably train people till she's like gone, like, you know, in the grave, and she'd be fine. She'd be 80 years old, like waking up training people.
80's not, she's going to live a lot longer than that.
Well, yeah, 90, 100. And yeah, for me, it's very different, but it's tough getting out of your own way. And for a long time, we were in our own way. Like for probably the first 2 years, we didn't hire a cleaner because we were like, this gym needs to be spotless. And like, no cleaner is going to get it this clean, right? But then fortunately for us, we got over ourselves and we hired a mentor and a coach to really like help us. And the first thing that they did, they're like, no, like we're going to write down the other things you could be doing if you didn't clean. And from there, for me, it's literally just math. It's like, if we hire a cleaner and it costs this much, but then I get to work on the business and replace my time, then it's worth this much to the business. And even for both of us, it's the time that we spend on the business is worth almost 10 times more than what we service in the business. So if I take too many clients on, I immediately know that our business is screwed because it's going to be capped very quickly. But as soon as I can let back and like give our trainers more to do and they can do that and that's what they love and pushes them, now I can keep helping them grow. And that's super beneficial too.
You guys have done what a lot of people can't do. I've already said that. But this is a lesson I share with a lot of folks is, what is your hourly worth? What are you worth? What's your hourly rate that you need to be producing, whatever that number is? And, you know, it might be $20. It might be $2,000 an hour, whatever it is. You have to come up with that number. And if you can pay someone less than that to do what you would do in that time, and usually they're going to do it better because that's probably what they're really good at,
Yeah.
then mathematically it makes sense for you to hire somebody. But there's still that, I still have to pay them, right? And that's where people get stuck. What advice do you have for someone who's in that space of, oh, that's painful to have to write that check?
You have to have a plan for your time.
I was going to say, Otherwise, I mean, our business, that's the reason our business like doubled.
Yeah. If you don't have a plan for your time, it's same like there's a principle for it. It's like if you don't have a plan for your money, then within 3 to 6 months, your expenses will rise to the level of your income. Like you have to have a plan. And most people they're thinking, well, I'm going to hire a trainer because then I can go golf, right? Or I can go do this, and they're not actually being more productive for their business. They're just paying someone to do the work. And so it's have a plan for your time. And then sometimes, like you said, when you walk away from your business, you just let it and see what breaks, because then you can fix it and then refine those systems and then make it better. But yeah, without a plan to actually like replace it and build income or whatever your business is solving, you're not going to do it.
And it's that slowing down to create that strategic plan and taking on partners and hiring people. How many people do you have on your team, on your staff that you hire?
6 or 7.
And that's in the gym.
Yeah.
But then you have other people outside the gym that do things for you, right? And that is probably another
3 or 4.
6, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've outsourced. And we were just talking about some of the outsourcing, right? Of like, we happen to be talking about bookkeeping, which I don't want to touch that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But somebody has to do it, right? And you were saying the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's miserable. I don't want to deal with it. I will look at a P&L all day.
Yeah.
But I do not want to go in and just start clicking buttons and doing those tasks. Like I want big picture. I want like either for my roles for like a CEO owner in a gym setting, you should either be one, training and developing staff, or hiring, training, developing staff, or client acquisition.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the biggest things with that too is that you get to see the trainers grow so much. Like when we hire people, you see where they start and then where they get to, which is enjoyable. That's something that makes it super fun too. Versus the client journey, it's now like seeing the trainer journey, which is different.
You're training the trainer to impact people. So your desire to impact others, which is largely why you got into training, because you want to help other people. It's not because you just don't care, but you get to see it tenfold because you're now influencing one person that's influencing all these other people What an amazing gift. I want to shift gears just for a second. Ashley, as a mom of 2 young girls, that can be a challenge to balance it. And a lot of women that I have coached and trained have a hard time figuring out, how do I be a successful wife and mom and business owner? And it's not easy. You make it look easy, but it's not easy. How do you do it? What are some of the principles that you follow?
It's definitely a lot, but I think that it's like a good balance too. So I feel like if I was only one of those roles, it would be a lot harder. So for me, it's easier when you do like half business, half mom, half wife. It's one of those things where you get to kind of switch hats. So it makes you a better mom, I think. Just being away from them for like even a short while, it's hard, but it's definitely worth it. Because when you come back, it's like just that much more fun, and it's good for your kids too, because they learn to, for us, it's nice because then Tim gets to learn how to take care of them on his own. So see the struggles, but it's good. I mean, it's definitely harder some days than others, but I think that just business wise, it's made me a lot better too, because you balance your priorities a lot more.
And you guys have figured out, how do you involve the children in what you're doing? I mean, you literally built your space to accommodate when you have the kids there.
Yeah.
And that's an incredible thing, because you've been able to say, I don't have to have separate, it can be together. And one of the things I like to, and you guys probably do some of this, is my day is like 3 days in a day, right? So the first portion of my day is about me. It's about me getting my head right, working out, doing Bible study, all the things that get me right for the day to give to other people. And a lot of times people don't do that. They just let the world come at them in those first hours of the day. But you're better going through that. Do you guys have a good morning routine?
Yeah, Ashley's...
You have little kids, so let's just
yeah, they're pretty young, but I mean, and they do better with routine too.
Yeah.
I think Ashley does a good job of like the tasks she needs to do, she gets them done, right? Like the certain non-negotiables that we started, while it might change based on whether the girls wake up at 5 a.m. or whether it's like 7 and we get some time, is that we used to set this expectation because, you know, being career trainers, we love working out. And it was like, okay, we're going to do this hard workout. It's going to be an hour long. And then after you have kids, you're like, you feel like a failure all the time because you will never get an hour long workout. And it'll
be back someday.
Yeah.
And it's the same that we had with our clients, and it helped us be better trainers, is like, okay, you need to lower the barrier.
Yeah.
Like instead of thinking I have to get an hour, it's like, let's go for 20 minutes and do something. And if I get extra time, then that's awesome. And that makes it way more accessible. So like, especially for Ashley, non-negotiable, she's always going to do at least 20, 30 minutes. She's going to walk every day. She's going to go in and be with her clients. And then as soon as the kids are in, it's like mom mode. And, you know, we always try to take the girls with us anywhere we go. We try to involve them as much as we can. So then it's like, you're not like picking one or the other. You're just living your life, and like your children get to see that.
Yeah, I love that. And you guys have created, so it's not maybe a strict, and my kids are 17 and 14, so it's a very different world for me today. I have to wake them up sometimes. Actually, they're pretty good. They wake themselves up. But I don't have that challenge. But you have your principles that you don't miss. You still have those, but you have to be flexible in the method way of how you get there, but you still accomplish what you're going out to accomplish to make you, even though you're balancing.
Yeah, and I mean, it just
things.
looks different. Like, that's it can't be an excuse, because it's just going to be different than what it was. Like, you're not going for 2 hours. You're just like, okay, well, I did a couple push-ups, then I might have to feed the baby, and then I might do some squats, and then there might be a poopy diaper, and then it's like, okay, well, we're done with this now. Yeah. So,
and you have to learn how to find the joy in just celebrating the small parts. Like, I did get a 20-minute workout in. It wasn't an hour today, and that's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Different things are a priority right now. So you guys have a really unique business and what you're going after. And I personally know what what your long-term plans are. But I'd like you to talk to me about the clients that you guys have. Who is the client that comes to you? Not a person, but explain to me somebody that would come to Fit15 and say, this is home for me, and what that looks like. And I know there's several parts, so you can talk on all of them.
Yeah, I think primarily it's the person that's tried a lot of different things, hasn't seen success, and is ready to genuinely get in the best shape of their life without feeling like they've drastically changed everything. Like we have a framework. It's basically called Better at Any Age, right? And anyone can do it. We just make sure that people actually follow it. And so it's stress, sleep, nutrition, movement, and support system. So we have all these 5 things, and then all of our clients, we essentially rank them. How are you doing 1 to 10? Stress, where are you at? Sleep, where are you at? And all you're trying to do is pick whichever one is the worst and then set a really small habit to make the biggest difference possible. And in a couple weeks, now that's gone up a couple notches. Let's just keep doing that. And it's just a bunch of small things to look out for yourself. And we're just teaching people that, you can get in incredible shape from 2 to 3 hours a week. Mm-hmm. You don't have to commit everything. You don't have to give up everything, but it's doable. We have hundreds of people that have came to us that are doing it, and it's just making it part of your lifestyle. So if you're fed up with just constantly yo-yo dieting or just feeling like you're just never got back after your kids or whatever else, like we'll fix it.
And that goes for the dads too, because the dads
100%.
Typically gain that.
Well, they're the
10
last
pounds.
ones to come. Like we just had a client who's been training with me for 6 years, and her husband is finally
just signed up.
Finally,
Wow.
like 6 years later.
Wow. Now you guys, what I love about what you're doing so much, but the implementing small habits, it's one small thing that leads to bigger change, right? And it's, do 10 push-ups today and tomorrow you do 10. And once you've done 10 consistently, then we do 15 or 12 or, it's that one small thing versus coming in and changing everything. And I think a lot of trainers or gyms will do that and say, here's your new program. And it's like, well, hold on a second. You're rocking my entire world, right? And now you offer in the gym training, but you also offer at home training.
Some,
Yeah, like virtual. Yeah.
And do you have trainers? Do you go to people's houses too?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and I think the biggest thing with most of them is that it's more of a lifestyle change for everybody. So it's like we're not only looking at just a workout. Like it's not, they just don't come in for a workout. We're trying to change their whole life. So it's, the mental side of things. If someone comes in for a session that they had like a super stressful day, we're not going to kill them that day. Like it's going to be like, we're going to want them leaving feeling better, not worse. So
you meet them where they are and you show them how you can have it all by doing it yourselves and blending your life together. I love that. And I coach the same way. It's not about just your business result. You have to look at all the factors that lead to your success because you can't just fix one thing and expect the rest of the things to change. How your education prior to this, how did that prepare you for what you're doing, or did it? Did you guys tell me about your post high school?
Yeah, every trainer we have has a 4-year degree. Mine's in physical therapy. Ashley's kinesiology. Everyone that we have has a 4-year degree. I wouldn't say that that's a requirement. It's how it goes. For a long time, at one point when we opened, I think between me and Ashley and Austin, we probably had like 18 certifications. And it provided us absolutely zero foundation for business. But man, if you came through the door, if you actually knew like our gym, then you're in for it. Like this is the best day ever. Because we know how to help you. So so we all have college degrees. We all have base certifications across various things. But what we found that just hits you right in the face is that you can literally be the best trainer in the world, but if you can't build a relationship, you'll never keep anyone long enough to show them how you can make a difference. And that's like the foundation of it, 100%. Now, we do require, especially for our team members, to have a base of knowledge because safety is still our number one,
Sure.
right? But yeah, if you can build a relationship and you have just the minimum intro, then we're going to work with you on staff development to get you where you need to go.
I love that. It's amazing. For someone who's starting a business, what advice do you have for them? Or someone who wants to, that doesn't know where to start? I mean, you guys could have very easily just said, we're just going to keep training people.
Yeah.
But you got together and said, we're going to make this change for our family and for us. And you didn't have the girls then when you started, but it led to that. I'm sure you guys had a plan there, knowing Tim and how he plans. I know he had a plan.
Yeah.
So that didn't just happen. But what advice do you have for someone? And I want each of you to share if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is more attainable than you think, right? 100%, it is definitely more in your reach than not to open your own business. We were terrified for a long time that we just what if we open, we just go bankrupt? What if we lose all? But you also have to, you owe it to yourself if you're thinking worst case scenario to think best case scenario. What if this is the most amazing thing we've ever done, right? So that's big. You need to weigh both sides of it, right? But for us, fortunately, we had enough of a background in this industry to understand some basic stuff that helped us get by. But really, when we started, I actually joke about this all the time, that for the first 2.5 years, people would see that we're wearing a shirt that says Phil and Five, and they'd be like, oh, I've driven by there. Which, as you know,
you don't
drive by ours. Yeah. And we're like, so you have no clue. But but more recently, we're going into 5 years or so. And if someone sees our shirt, they're like, oh, hey, do you go to that gym?
Yeah.
And then you can start to tell the brand's paying off. But we've just done it initially through really great service and just building relationships, right? And just doing the right thing all the time. And at some point, you will at least get enough referrals and asking people that it will help build your business. One of the things I would recommend is hiring a mentor and a coach quicker than you think you can afford, because you're actually paying a huge price by not hiring a coach and by not having someone that's done what you've done. For us, the first couple of years, we grew 20% year over year. And then we grew 30%. And this year, this is our about 16, 18 months with a mentor, we'll grow 45% from last year. And it's literally just them helping us niche down, figure out our offering, figure out exactly what problem we're solving, which as gym owners, we're not solving a results issue for clients. We're solving a sales and marketing issue. As trainers, we solve results issues. But you have to understand the industry that you're actually in and the problem you're solving for your business versus what problem your business is solving. And you need to hire someone that's done it better than you.
Love it.
Yeah, and just the accountability of them in general, coaches need coaches. So it's definitely been one of the most beneficial things for sure.
Is that the same advice you'd give?
Definitely some of those things for sure. I think the biggest thing is just you should just go for it if you really have a passion for it and want to do it. But you definitely have to think about how much passion you have, because it's not easy. So, but you shouldn't worry about it as much as what most people do, because they don't actually do it ever because they're afraid. So I would just say go for it.
Do it afraid. You just have to go for it.
Yeah. And learn along the way.
Yeah, the bar is low. I think in general, the way that I would put it is there's a lot of people that don't do it.
Yeah.
There are people that do it
and fail.
And then they just don't try as much as they need to, or don't give the service they think it's good, but it's really not good enough. And it's just, even with customer service, I feel like one of the things I heard a long time ago is that there's the most competition for the most average jobs. And there's the least competition for really exclusive jobs, because people just don't believe that they can get there and they don't apply. So it's there's not much competition in amazing service and just quality relationship building. You just have to be a really good person.
Yep. I love that. Oh, that's everything. I want to go back to the thinking about best case scenario. And this is a tip that I have shared. This is something we use in our house, but I share it with business owners all the time, is you have to think about best, worst, and most likely when you're processing something. Our brains are wired to think worst case scenario. They just are. We're humans. That's what we think. What's the worst case? So you have to train your brain to flip that and say, well, what's the best case scenario? Okay. And then what is most likely to happen? And that brings you down to a space where you can sort of be more level to make decisions than if you just think of what's worst case scenario. But that takes practice.
Yeah, immediately. I'm
you always go worst case.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is going to
Usually
blow
I'm
up in
more
our
of the
face.
best case. So luckily
You do
I
best
got-
case and he does worst.
Typically,
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah, I'm definitely the type A, like doomsday.
There's a million.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hedge against every worst case scenario to make sure they don't happen. If it does, I know, and that's a lot of wasted
And
time.
usually
Yeah.
I just don't think about
getting
it.
better.
So we just go into it.
We get better as we go,
Yeah.
right? We're not completed yet, but
Yeah.
gosh, it's so good we're where we are now and not where we were
right.
a year ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
hiring a coach for sure.
That's the
is-
biggest thing for you guys.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and they know way better than you. So
And most people see that as an expense or a cost,
Yeah.
and it's an investment.
Yeah.
There are investments you make in your business that cost money, but they're an investment, but the return on those investments pays back dividends.
yeah, and I think that's what held us back for the longest time because it is really expensive. So we were like, no, we can't do it. And then finally you do it, and it
Yeah.
pays off.
Coaching is expensive, but it's also worth it.
Yeah,
And if you have the right coach, like for us, our coaching cost in a year, I mean, it was extraordinary. When
Right.
we opened, we're like, oh my God, this is
No way.
unreal. And within 6 months per month, we had made up our yearly cost of mentorship.
And you went after a very specific mentor in your field that has done it before. And
Yeah.
that's what people need to know is I need to talk to somebody that knows what they're doing, that is where I want to be, right? And you guys have done such a great job with that. Well, I just think the world of you guys, and I'm so glad you came today to share all of this. It is not easy to work together as a husband and wife, and you guys make it look easy. I've seen you in action, and you truly make it look easy. You guys make decisions together well, and you're such an example for how you do that as a married couple, but you're also bringing your family in, and I'm just happy to be a part of your journey. Tell everybody where to find you. Where can we find you online? I mean, I know, but tell everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, phil15tn.com. You can book a free intro, talk to you all about your problems and your goals and the results you want to see. Instagram, phil15, or my personal, Timothy Rayner. Instagram, everything, Facebook.
And we'll put everything in the show notes too. Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys for joining me today. This has been one of my favorite episodes here, learning from these two. And I thank you all for listening today, and we'll see you next time.